everybody, to the Road Warrior Show. I am your host, Nhat Pham, and alongside me, of course, is Digital Knight Sean Francis.
Good morning. This is the show for all you entrepreneurs, salespeople, and professionals to give you tips, tricks, and of course technology to keep you more successful in the air and on the road.
Happy Monday, August 19th, 2013 to you. Got a great show for you today. Today we're going to be talking about Facebook, some Facebook hacking, if you will. We're going to be talking some Microsoft Outlook.com, and SkyDrive, and about Google down.
Yes.
Google down.
You can believe it.
It's like a movie. Talking some YouTube and this whole space of online video, including Netflix, Ariel, really cool site that's out there right now, and talking also some wearable technology.
Yes.
With Samsung.
Yes.
So
the time is here.
The time is here. I like that. Very, very cool. So stay tuned. It's going to be an awesome show. What happened between those two big giants?
Well, basically last week, I don't know if you're aware of this, but both Microsoft and Google had some challenges with having some of their services up and running. One of the things that, the big push for the industry is cloud-based services.
Yes.
But the problem with it is that when they go down, and it affects a lot of people. It's not, one or two, or it's not an office. It's, like millions of users and things like that.
That's a bit.
Yeah, just a tad. Well, Microsoft is actually their Outlook.com email service. That's their new one that kind of replaced the Hotmail and everything like that. That, as well as the SkyDrive and Contacts, that was down last week on Wednesday.
Wow.
Now, SkyDrive and Contacts was fixed on Wednesday, the same day it went down, but they were still having problems with Outlook.com up until Friday, some users were reporting. Now, that's a long period of time. Now, to kind of put that in converse, Google, they actually had a problem Friday as well. Their service went down for, get this, 2 to 5 minutes. Now,
that's forever for them.
It's a long time. Apparently, there was even, and it was a big noticeable difference because there's some reports that internet traffic dropped 40% during that time. 40%. So while their search engines and things like that were down, internet traffic just, almost cut in half. If you can believe that.
Huge.
It's way huge. Way huge. So, I mean, it's interesting, on how deep.
Just imagine, 40% of your city can't use the internet. Or not using the internet at that rate.
Oh, it's not that way they couldn't use the internet. It's just that, again, so much is based upon that when you're talking
about...
Yeah,
that's not mean can't use it, but not going on, or traffic's not flowing. It's like just think of your highway. All of a sudden, taking 40% of that traffic,
and it's gone. Yes.
Gone in middle of rush hour traffic.
Yes. That's exactly what had happened. So they had that problem on Friday. Again, it was only out for a few minutes. But again, it does make it does reflect upon that kind of stuff, and lets us know how dependent we are upon these services and things like that,
And it's amazing, no matter what the security is, people can get to it. I mean, heck, there was a guy actually moving on to a couple big giants to a Johnny-come-lately newcomer giant, is Facebook.
Yes.
And how those things can just really wreak havoc, and if you don't really respond quickly to certain people, they got some skills.
Yes.
And this guy, Khalil, pretty intelligent guy, obviously, because he was able to hack Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook wall.
Yep.
Right, and say sorry for breaking your privacy and posting on your wall, but had no other choice. After all the reports I sent to your Facebook team came unresponded.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Facebook actually pays, like hackers and things like that to find bugs and, loopholes in their system.
All the big boys do, I guess.
Yeah, right? And that's a great way of doing things, because instead of what normally happens is if, these guys, they'll find this stuff and they'll go out there, they'll post it for everyone in the world to see it. Instead, these companies are now paying them, hey, if you find something and figure out how to get it fixed, we'll pay you, for that for that fix. And apparently he was trying to let Facebook know, and he didn't get any response, so he said, well, let me just show them, exactly what's going on here. And just posted it right on his wall.
Yeah, and I thought that was really funny.
Yes, well, apparently they did fix the problem, but he did not get paid because they said he violated the company policy by
terms of service.
The terms of service, yes. Apparently even disconnected his account for a period of time.
Hey, I think the notoriety he got was more than worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, we're sitting there talking on our show.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
All right, so moving on, we have from Facebook with Zuckerberg. I want to talk to you about where is it? I had to squeeze in your content, and I'm lost at the thing. Oh, the Facebook reach. I want to talk to you about that and how big Facebook reach has really gotten, and how it's impacting not, we talked about impacting TV, but ad revenues, and really how it's causing the retargeting to really skyrocket. So what is retargeting? What a lot of some people in the industry call it remarketing. So if you hear that, it's basically the same. You ever go to a what is it called? Commerce site, right?
Yeah.
Your Tiger Directs, your Amazons and stuff like that, and you're looking at something and you haven't decided, you're going to buy it yet or not, and then all of a sudden you go to another website and bam, the very thing you're looking at is staring you in the face.
Yes.
On the side.
Actually, I've noticed that in the past few months, that's been, prolific. Everywhere I go, everything I've been searching for is now showing up. It's like following me.
Yeah. So retargeting is becoming huge, and no bigger place for retargeting is Facebook. So you can see here, where your feeds are, and they do it in two different places. This spot right there, okay, is the retargeting ad. So you may see a backpack or a laptop or something that you're looking at, a TV you're looking at. And then the other big thing is the content that's part of your social feed now, what they call sponsored posts. So it's going right smack, and these are getting a lot more expensive because they see the value in it, or how much people are clicking on it. So it's more expensive to have that ad come here, but people see it more. It's on mobile devices and so forth. So it's really increasing. So 65% of Facebook advertisers are running spots in these news feeds now. So inventory is very limited. So with high demand
comes high prices.
So it's really increases. I still remember even the normal ads though on the sides are up in the $2 range now. I was buying them when we first started this between a nickel and a dime.
Wow.
Nickel and dime. If you really wanted your ad, it's like, do we spend the dime? Now it's like, if we could get back to the days of just a quarter, I'll take a quarter.
Yes.
But they've done a good job of tweaking their sites and driving people there. So you can see all these impressions. The cost is lowering for click-through rates and so forth. But if you look at your overall, and the reason why this has become so prolific is, one, you're getting the audience you want, right?
Your click-through rate is going down.
Right.
The cost per click is higher.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the cost per capture, if you will, is still much lower than traditional advertising.
Yes.
So, while it's going up, you still have a great cost-effective opportunity to leverage this. So look into retargeting, especially if you're an online store. It is the rage, and you're really getting a very targeted audience there.
Gotcha.
And actually an audience that's already interested in your product. You just got to remind them.
Yeah, hey, here,
times.
you've been looking at this already, why don't you just go ahead and get it done with.
Yeah, and then you're in your mind, it's like, you're dying to buy it. You want to buy it. Now it's just another tickle to click that button.
Yes.
So check those things out. I think it's a very powerful thing. I'm not going to go into it, but agencies, including folks like us, SuccessWorks, are looking at media buying platforms,
right,
and to make it easier and figuring out what spaces are good, whether it's Facebook or other sites and so forth.
Gotcha.
All right. Instagram, I'm sure, is going to eventually follow, especially since they've been bought out by Facebook. All right. Speaking of Instagram, another issue that's creeping up is the fake Instagram. So there's a kind of a virus going out, and it's not malicious necessarily, but Instagram has some hackers out there, and what they're doing is instead of it's known as Zeus, by the way. Traditionally used to steal credit cards. What they're using is to increase the online presence of Instagram accounts. This is according to Reuters report, and it's coming out of Eastern Europe. And the Instagram likes and follows that the virus generates are helping marketers and it really creates buzz around certain hashtags, and in some cases, the influx of additional likes.
Gotcha.
So it keeps, gets those feeds more prevalent, and it's essentially even better for making money than actually credit cards.
Wow.
So a batch of 1,000 credit card numbers costs around $6, where 1,000 Instagram likes cost marketers roughly $30.
Interesting. So basically what they're doing is they're increasing their marketing, and it's you don't have the legal ramifications that you might have with the whole credit card stuff.
Exactly. So very interesting. Those black hat guys, they get pretty creative on how to make money, don't they?
Wow.
So you have to be careful of those. As you're going online, and this is one of those things we try to track. You could actually, back in the day, buy likes and followers, and we kind of shunned against that because it was only a temporary thing while it gave you some social proof, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, this guy has 1,000 likes, they got to be interesting. At the same time, it doesn't give you true results and true data, so you have to be careful with that. While it gives you that initial boost, we were never one on buying your likes. Not saying that you shouldn't use Facebook and Twitter advertising and things like that. You should in buying likes that way, but it's more valid than just fake likes, if you will.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So from Facebook, Instagram, let's move on into things that people use to be able to watch and deal with those things. And of course, there's smartphones. Tell us a little bit about one of the smartphones that are trying to get back into the space, which I really loved them from the beginning, and they just didn't do what they should have done.
Yeah.
And Microsoft, tell us about the Windows 8 phone.
Well, the Microsoft Windows 8 phone, if you they're slowly growing. Believe it or not, they actually, for the first time, they have now surpassed BlackBerry for growth.
I believe that actually.
So you've got Android and you've got iOS as the top two, and then I think in a 5% marketplace you've got the Windows Phone. But again, it's still growing where the BlackBerry is now, and unfortunately shrinking. But one of the big apps that the whole thing about having smartphones is apps, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, one of the big apps that Microsoft Windows 8 phones don't have is YouTube.
No YouTube.
Nope. Apparently what's happened is they had an app on there before that, according to Google, did not concede to their guidelines, and they said they requested that Microsoft pull it off. So they kind of did some workarounds and things like that, and they basically couldn't come to an agreement as of yet because Google wanted them to rewrite it into an HTML5 language. It's actually a programming language. And the Windows 8 phone is not designed to run HTML5. So the first reiteration apparently was not passing through some ads and things like that, which of course Google would not be real happy about with that kind of stuff. So Microsoft has made some changes to it. They couldn't come to an agreement, but they had their end users that were complaining about not having it, so they released it without approval from Google, and Google ended up they shut them down. They started blocking access from the app to their the YouTube site.
Oh my goodness.
So they basically cut them off at the heels. What Microsoft is saying is that Google's not willing to work with them. Google's saying is that in order to be able to do this app, you have to create an HTML5. Well, which is funny is that the Android and the iOS, neither of those will run an HTML5. So basically Microsoft is crying foul play here, saying that they're not trying to play fair. That they're allowing it for the Apple and for their stuff, but someone else coming in, they're trying to force them down a path that they're not able to do at this time. So Microsoft is diligently working on trying to update the code in their stuff to be able to work in that HTML5 environment, but in the meantime, there's no YouTube app for them to be able to use. Now, you can still view it through a web browser, you can go to the website and all that kind of stuff, but it still doesn't have the same experience as an app, going through and do the searches and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see how this turns out, but yeah, for those people with Windows Phone, again, that's not helping. By turning that off, that makes it a little bit more difficult for the end users, to try and have that full Windows experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, web video is just a big play, and so I think there's a lot of tips back and forth with that, and that shows with things like Netflix and Google trying to really save TV again and really unchaining or cutting the cord, if you will, to viewing TV.
Yeah.
And Netflix is trying to get in bed with TV shows along with Google with their Chromecast on figuring out how to do that on other devices, whether it's on mobile devices or if it's on smart TVs, to be able to tap into that.
Yeah.
And really kind of moving that in and how to subsidize that market, because it's being more difficult to be able to get viewers to watch those online or ads just in general. Online ads aren't as bad. 15 seconds I can kind of live with these days. So that's a big play. So really understanding, where the market is going with advertising, where you can actually position yourself as a small business or even big business in that manner. But we do know video content is big.
Yes.
And it's going more and more mobile. And if you don't believe that, there's a company called Ariel. Okay, Ariel has just expanded their market.
Now, how do you spell that?
Aereo. And I'm gonna link that up here. Oh, I can't. I don't have to. I just realized I was gonna put it on live stream, and you don't need to. And basically, your antenna is your cloud, and it's kind of interesting. It's via basically the internet. It's basically IP cable, if you will. Okay, you can use it on phones, tablets, and computers, and really work your cable on any device. And it's gaining a lot of traction. Basically, you're watching TV online. You save shows for later. No cable required. So basically, it's cable without the wiring.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a cost to this?
Of course, but what it's doing is allowing you to, cut the cord. Remember, I was talking to you just the other day about watching it online, and you have to go through this whole rigmarole to be able to watch it online and so forth. This allows you to basically have your cable anywhere, anytime.
Cool. Now it looks like it's only to specific areas and things like that.
Right, but what I'm saying is that you're going to be able to really leverage the wireless part of this more and more. And how do you leverage this in the early? What I always try to do is have the vision to beat people to the punch, to entrench yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have a marketing budget, how do you leverage this market? While it's inexpensive. Imagine if you were blitzing all the ads when it was a nickel and a dime on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
You could have gotten a lot of traction for very low cost. So our job is always kind of help people maybe not to see 10 years into the future, but a year or two into the future.
In technology, that's like 10, 15 years.
Well, still, a year's not bad. A year, I think, is something that if you have the open-mindedness and the willingness that you could really leverage and for a smaller business, really move on a dime, even a medium-sized business, be able to move a little faster sometimes than even a bigger company.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And I think there's going to be a world of where things starts to merge in different devices as well, along with your smartphone and then your accessories. Along those lines, there's a lot of accessories now to complement your smartphone.
Okay.
Let's talk about what Samsung's doing with theirs. We talked about smart watches before. What is Samsung doing?
Well, Samsung is actually, by all reports, it looks like they're going to be getting ready to release a smartwatch, possibly as early as September 4th. It's probably going to be called the Galaxy Gear, and according to sources, this actually is going to be kind of a big game changer. I think the whole wearable technology is really becoming put up front right now, and that's where the industry is going. They've had the Pebble that was released. There's a couple other devices that have come out. Apple's actually said that they're getting ready to release something, and probably it'll be this year that they're going to have their iWatch.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and so it'll be really interesting to see how this whole thing comes up.
I think I have it right here. Is that the one?
Yeah. Well, there's no pictures of them yet, so this would be just guesses as to kind of what people are talking about.
All right.
But yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how it comes out. This is the first time something that's hasn't come out yet that I'm actually very interested even in looking at this, because I would love to have a watch that kind of, instead of keep pulling my pocket out of my phone and everything like that and holding it in my hand, I can sit here and look at my watch and kind of see what events are coming up or what's going on. Some of them are even doing sound where it's doing inductive sound, like the Jawbone that does it through your bone. They're talking about doing it through your skin and things like that. So I'm interested. It's kind of curious to see how this is all going to come about. But the technology is really getting out there. Flexible display is what they're even talking about with the smartwatch.
We've been talking about that for years.
Yes.
I've been talking about this since '01.
Yeah. So it'll be nice. I'm really curious to see. So look for that September 4th, possibly be kind of introduced, and hopefully coming to an area near you. Guess it's probably going to be about the $200 price range for this device.
That sounds about right.
So, but they're even having them. They're even talking about where instead of these being where they're Bluetooth connected to your phone, some of them possibly even being standalone devices where you can actually it can be a phone in itself.
Yeah, I looked at that. I actually almost bought one of those Dick Tracy watches, but it just wasn't practical.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about wearable technology.
Yes.
Well over a decade.
Yeah.
So it's really getting prevalent now. So that's exciting.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. So look for that. That's in the next couple of weeks. See what's coming out. I think that's going to be about the same time they're talking about launching the Note 3 as well.
Wow, fantastic. Well, from there, there's we're becoming more and more interactive all the time, and the consumer has a larger and larger voice these days. And what people like Porsche's doing is allowing users and their fans to actually help dictate what goes into a vehicle. And you basically, it was according to fan votes and likes on Facebook and other platforms. And all these little areas you were able to pick as far as how the new Porsche was going to look like.
Interesting. So
whether, in the future you can, like it from your watch and phone and all those type of things, and of course your laptop and PC. But this is kind of neat. It helped drive a ton of traffic, six-figure traffic on their site and on their Facebook pages and so forth. So, the crowdsourcing is really becoming a big thing. So if you're not crowdsourcing, consider doing that because it helps your fan base get involved with your brand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, we talked about crowdsourcing. This leads right into our free segment of the day, brought to you by the SuccessWorks Social Media Dashboard, where you can manage all your social media in one place. As you can see, we have a lot of our social media networks there, including the LinkedIn groups and the Google Plus and all those later social networks that's come on board. What is being huge as far as crowdsourcing, if you will, is crowdfunding. So if you're a small business, right, how do you get more revenues? Some of the things to consider, particularly if you have an actual product. One of the most popular ones out there is a site called Kickstarter. So many of you probably heard of Kickstarter before.
Yeah.
One of the challenges though of Kickstarter is that you have a certain time frame. Now it has the most notoriety, but if you don't hit whatever you want to hit in that a lot of times, so if you have 60 days and you want to raise $100,000, you don't hit it, you don't get any of it. So you got to kind of gauge, if you use Kickstarter, if you want to say do maybe something less, maybe you do 20 grand instead of 100 grand.
Yeah.
And make sure you have plenty of buzz and things of that nature. Prosper. Another one is prosper.com. And what prosper.com does connects users who wants to invest money and who want to borrow money. And the cost is anywhere from a half percentage point to 4.5% of the money you raise.
Wow.
So that's another option there. And then probably I would say the second strongest crowdsourcing or crowdfunding site out there is Indiegogo. They're giving Kickstarter a run for their money. And what they decided to do is take a half percentage off of what Kickstarter charges, which is 4.5%. The nice thing about them is I believe they don't have a prerequisite of having to raise that exact amount. Whatever you raise is whatever you raise, and they just take 4.5%.
Gotcha.
So those are some things if you want to be able to crowdfund, all right, your business.
Okay.
Awesome way to do it. I mean, could you imagine trying to raise money ahead of time?
Never.
And you got to have a good video. So like if you wanted, like this product here, you wanted to create a cooler with all these plugins, you essentially can sell it before you make it.
Yeah.
Now, basically by crowdfunding it.
That's pretty cool.
And you had a platform, and otherwise you could have done the same thing back in the day, but you're going to what they call family, friends, and fools.
Yeah.
Right? We've all been through that process before.
Yes.
I know I have. So this is kind of a nice way to be able to get your word out there, get people believe in your cause, believe in what you do, and get some revenue.
Cool.
All right, I think that's the end of the show.
All right, cool.
We've got a great show for you next week. Last show before our little sabbatical, because after that's going to be Labor Day, and then I'm going to be out for a week doing a talk and all kinds of crazy stuff. Things I don't even know what's going on yet. So, with that, until next time,
I'm Digital Knight Sean Francis.
and I'm the social media samurai Nhat Pham. Until we connect on LinkedIn, friend each other on Facebook, circle up on Google+, pin on Pinterest. You can follow Sean on Twitter at TagVA. Follow me at Nhat Pham, and on Instagram now at SuccessWorks. Why people do that? I'm trying to jump in, but working on that. Till then, be mobile, be successful, and stay social. See ya.